I'm also on the road between Vietnam and Malaysia, so bear with me as I'm working between on a laptop rather than the office. So I will kick off. Philmon, how you doing?
Doing good here. How are you?
Oh, good. You're at home?
Yeah, I'm at home today.
And Claudette, hi there.
Good morning or afternoon or evening, wherever you are.
Wherever in the world you are, yeah. Okay. So we're good on the screen. You can see the monthly meeting. Okay, great. Well, first of all, let me say a big thank you because all of you are true supporters, and for especially for the monthly meetings. And I'm going to get some of your inputs today because Antonio and I are gearing up. I'm going to share a few insights with you, and we're also suggesting a couple of changes. And all of you, as passionate and committed members of the community, which I really appreciate, it'll be great to get your feedback. Shall we go in? As you know, I keep it on time, so we'll keep it for the 55 minutes from now. The two things for today, the usual, we'll kick off with the updates. The theme for today is how AI is accelerating implementation and performance. And I've put together just a few slides to trigger and align the conversation, and then we'll open it up for a group discussion. So I'll go straight in. First of all, thank you to everyone. In terms of the updates, this year we've launched the SIP exclusive that we kicked off a couple of months ago. I think most of you were on that one as well. Delighted to say the next one is on June the 18th. And there's a gentleman called Mark, and then I can never pronounce his Dutch surname. But Mark has kindly agreed. And sorry, I'll go back a step. Part of the SIP exclusive is when Antonio and I can get access to prominent speakers or thinkers. We want to bring them in as a value add for the SIPs. And this is, Antonio and I were talking, and Mark's just been voted the #1 futurist in the world. And we just presented last week together at a conference. And he's got, we also in a mastermind, what we call a mastermind group with 4 other people. So he has a very good perspective of, how the future is going to roll out. One of your feedbacks was to ask for the topic in advance and any reading material and questions, and we've already sent those out. So if you haven't received anything, please let me know because we've sent out the link, the reading material, and the other content. So if anything's missing, just drop me a message and I'll make sure it gets to you. But initially, when we launched SIP, a few people were missing off for the list for whatever reason, but hopefully that's been taken care of. So June the 18th, 6 p.m. is Singapore time. Philmon, you don't need to calculate. For the rest of you, just, it's 1 hour later than it is now. Mark lives in Sydney, so it'll be 8 p.m. his time. Okay, so delighted that will be. The other bit of feedback you gave us, we changed it to 90 minutes. And the reason for that is to make it more of a group discussion, because we kind of ran out of time. So we want it to be more, to allow more time in it as well. All right, so it'll be my pleasure next month to introduce Mark. We're also, and this is where I'd love your inputs, whether this will get traction or not. Antonio and I have been talking about this for a couple of months now, but we haven't started it yet. It could be one, we don't have enough critical mass at this point, which will take me to my next point in a moment. But the special interest groups is something to see whether it's of interest for yourselves. So I'd love to hear your feedback. SIGs are, other organizations use it. And, the purpose of it is that it's not driven by Antonio or myself, but it's driven by yourselves. And, the first one, Antonio and I were thinking the most highly talked about topics are either around culture or leadership or technology. And we'd like, if the members are interested, what we were thinking is that you create it yourself. It only runs for 90 days and it would be a 3 month, and it would be a self-led interest group where we double down on one of the areas. Now that, along with SIP exclusive, we want to start building up new body of knowledge. So this will start contributing to potential articles or white papers, and then updating the body of knowledge for 3.0. So can I just pause there and, please be brutally honest. If it's not of interest, let me know, because we don't want to double down on areas that don't resonate. But as some of our most, admin supporters or members of the community would love to get everyone's response. If we started it on one of the three areas, the role of leadership, the culture and implementation relationship, or the impact of technology and implementation, would it be something that one of you would want to be involved in or even drive? Anton, I'm going to go in the order that you appear on the screen. You okay to go next to give your response?
Yeah, I
Then
definitely
Philemon?
will be interested in the culture part based on what I've studied, the influence of culture on project success and failure. I'd love to be part of that one, and also the impact of technology, specifically AI in this case. Those are absolutely interest parts that I have, because I'd
Yeah.
love to join. I like the idea very, very much.
Okay, so thank you. Philemon and then Claudette in the order. You appear on
I'm
my screen.
interested in the technology and the culture as well.
Okay, so same. So it would be of interest.
Yep.
Okay, Philemon, thank you. And then Claudette and then Anita.
Yes, leadership and culture I'd be interested in.
Okay, well, leader culture, the one consistent so far. And Anita, you get the next vote.
I take any topic of interest because you always have to jump into a new topic and do not do cherry picking. And I think I'm not sure, but maybe an idea from myself is for sure there's one amongst us, the members, to having a current urging pressing problem. And this group could be like a kind of collective solution finding. So we do not only work in a theoretical way, but really do a problem solving on a practical example. So I would suggest this because maybe someone of you have, for example, Antoine and so on, and then we contribute with our point of view, and then we have a result, and this result we can process further, and not just take a thesis topic and work like in a tower, in an isolated tower, and then this is it. So I want the topics to be applicable in the real world.
Okay, sorry. Absolutely. And Anita, thank you for that refresh as a reminder. Initially, when we set up, that was always one of the themes for the meetings, that people can bring implementation challenges. So I'm happy to weave that into the monthly meetings rather than have because a special interest group would run for 3 months. So I think that would be a one-off, an ad hoc, but happy to do that for a monthly meeting. Great suggestion. Okay. Greg, hi. And Ishad, sorry, pronounced it wrong. Just to give you a quick welcome. I don't know when you came in. Sorry, I was managing everything. So my question to the group is, Antonio and I were discussing if it would be of interest for the members to run themselves a special interest group on culture or technology or leadership. Greg, and then Irshad, your reflection, would it be something that you'd want to get involved in, that it's self-managed by the members? Would it something you'd be engaged in?
Yeah, sure.
Hi. Greg, do you want to go first in the order you appear on my screen?
Okay. Yeah, yes, no, it'd be great to be part of that. Um, yeah, I belong to Strategic Management Association, and they have a SIG as well. And
Yeah.
they, one of the groups there's a behavioral strategy interest group, which is quite closely aligned. But theirs is far more academic. And to Anita's point, I like the fact that it's more practical here, yeah, in terms of application. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Greg. And Irshad, hi there. Good to see you.
Hi everyone. Hi Robin. I guess for me as well, it's the practical aspect of it, and especially culture, because we've changes in technology, but also the workforce and the new generations coming into the workforce. I've got a keen interest on the cultural element.
Okay, so that was a positive from everyone. So I'm going to leave it at that for now because I don't want to take up the meeting on it. So what's going to happen then is I'll connect with Antonio, and then what we'll do is we'll send out an email for those who want to get involved, and we'll take the response from there. So I'll leave it at that for now. So thank you, everyone. I'll go forward on the update. Delighted to announce that as of this week, we've signed a global marketing partner who, we want to ramp up the focus. We have on average, about 2 or 3 new members every week, and we're looking to grow that possibly 3 or 5 times with this marketing. So we're going to partner with a company, and they're going to manage and take over all the marketing for us. So you'll see an up on that, or we might have some requests for newer testimonials or for some contributions. But just want to update you, we've worked on the contract over since January. So it's taken us 4 or 5 months to get everything in place. The contracts are all signed, and they kicked in this week, starting yesterday. So looking forward to seeing how that takes off. As a result of all the other things going on, one of the things we're going to also propose, because we've now starting the SIP exclusive, and we're going to have the SIGs as well, is we like to experiment and live as in a digital world. So we're going to propose going forward that we do the monthly meeting every 2 months. Okay, and the reason for that is because we'll have, we want to launch the SIGs. We've got SIP exclusive now, and we don't want to be filling up your calendar. So, Claudette, your head is nodding, so thank you for that. Again, can I just go around, just any reactions or comments? Comfortable, not comfortable? Don't need to call everyone out, but just reactions.
Let's try it.
Thumbs
We
up
can
or
change
thumbs down. There we go. Thanks, Anita. Try it. Okay. Thanks, Greg. Yeah. Okay. So we'll experiment, which means there'll be no meeting in June, and the next one will be July, which Antonio will host. Okay. And then just going back to the SIP, 2 or 3 things that are different for it, for those who didn't make the first meeting, is first of all, Antonio and I are both on that call. Secondly, it's always it's only for SIPs, as the title suggests, for certified members. And thirdly, it will now be 90 minutes. All right. So wonderful. Thank you for your feedback on that. Okay. I'll go forward. Sorry, well, let me go back. Sorry. Any comments or questions before I go into today's topic? All right. So here we go. Today is more of a looser discussion from my perspective. Oh, I'm sorry. Not so good on the laptop in the hotel room. Okay, my apologies. Okay. I'm just juggling around with screens. Okay.
And everybody, please go on mute who's not talking. I hear somebody really loudly breathing in my ear. Thank you.
And I thought you were enjoying it. Last year, it came out this year, but last year. But Antonio and I spent a lot of time updating the course, especially at the digital perspective. And by the end of this year, I imagine we're going to have to do it again with the impact of AI. It is the topic everyone's talking about, especially this year. The key word is agentic AI. Everybody is just discussing what's happening with it. So the theme for today, and I'm going to give a little bit of a background in a few minutes, but the question is, I wanted to put it up front that I'm going to come to in about 5-10 minutes, is how you using AI, but specifically around improving and accelerating strategy implementation. We all know it has many other perspectives and uses, but let's, for our theme, focus on it. So, bit of a background introduction just to bring the topic to life. Over the last few years, we've seen, one thing after the other. Remember about 10 years ago, we were all kind of curious, what's big data? And we were all getting used to unstructured and structured data and how to read data. And then just as we got the hang of that, suddenly we're all learning about customer journey mapping. What is it? And, what's the fusion of customer journey mapping and big data, something we call customer science. And then the term agile initially, because we moved from waterfall to agile, but now the term many are using is agile at enterprise. As we go from vertical to horizontal, scrums are becoming commonplace, time boxing, check-ins. So agile at enterprise is very much grown. Just as we got the hang of that, AI gets its rebirth. Because now the ecosystem supports it. So now, we all know the birth of AI, the rebirth of AI and the acceleration and the impact, and we'll talk about it. Then blockchain, and we're all understanding what distributed and shared ledgers were and starting to understand cryptocurrencies and how it impacts supply chain and other key areas. And just as we're getting the hang of that, we're learning about ecosystems, the new business frontier. Especially out of China, there's been a massive growth in ecosystems, very powerful, a lot of best practices. But they really are the new revenue and the new business frontier. Then, of course, 2 years ago, Gen AI lands, and the impact of that is going to be for the next few years. Interestingly, how it's restructuring business models, because the companies at the forefront who are using Gen AI, you may have 7 or 8 or 9 steps in your process, but the work that the people are doing at each step of the process is radically changing. One of the more obvious ones, you think of legal and compliance. Instead of taking weeks or months to go through a contract and agreement, we're now accelerating the heavy lifting through Gen AI. Operations, we know, is changing, the customer service, impacting so many fronts. So the business model is radically changing. We're going to see that over the next 12 to 24 months. And then, of course, agentic AI. It's very much the 2025 buzz. You've got AI agents and then evolving to agentic AI. Manus that came out in China just a few months ago. Most companies are rapidly adopting AI agents, radically changing people's work. So this is going to be a massive impact. And then the question mark, who knows what's going to be the next one, but it's not going to be too long. So the term I use a lot is that intelligence is cheap, wisdom is expensive. And today, anybody can get the intelligence. Anybody can now use the Gen AI models that, we're even going from LLM to SLM, small learning models, very quickly. But, the LLMs, the reinforcement learning models are in place. Intelligence is now there, but it's how you apply it. And that's where we're going to have a look at implementation. The benchmark that's become the standard or the minimum is that today from yesterday, there should be at least a 25% improvement in working faster and a 40% working better. Now, this is the number that came out of Harvard when they did the test with BCG, Boston Consulting Group, but it's become the benchmark that if you're not using Gen AI and seeing at least a 25% faster and 40% better, then you're missing out. And that's the minimum. In other areas, we're seeing it even more, but that's become the benchmark globally. Any comments on that one? Any reactions? No? Okay, I'll go forward.
So
Sorry.
just
No, Sorry, yeah.
apologies. Is it possible to have a link to the report or research?
Yeah, I wanted to have this too, like the paper behind this.
Yep. I'm sitting on my laptop. I'm not in the I'm in a hotel room, so I haven't got my home computer.
Whenever you
But
can
yeah.
manage one.
Yeah, I'll send you the
Sure,
link.
no,
I can do a quick Gen AI search after. I'll go on Perplexity. That will have it for me. So,
thank you.
what's the easiest way? When I post if I post it on LinkedIn, will that work for you when I post the summary of today's meeting? No? Okay.
Sure.
Yeah. Anita, sorry, were you shaking your head or nodding?
No shaking.
Okay, so I can send it to you directly.
Yes.
Okay. And then I'll post it for everyone else. I can put it on LinkedIn.
Thanks.
Just a quick sidetrack, sorry, just because Philman's on the call. Philman, my previous LinkedIn that went out last week, I talked about Singapore values and took a picture of a fruit stand on Orchard Road I run.
Mhm.
It's got over 250,000 hits. Yeah, amazing. You just never know what's going to go viral. Okay, sorry, slight distraction. So I've introduced the video. This is just a fun clip because every conference, every meeting, every leader I talk to, this is the only thing you hear.
AI. More agentic capabilities. AI agentic workflows. Agents.
Okay, so just a bit of fun. It's just literally reflecting everything you hear and everything we're discussing. Okay. So I've put up 6 of the most commonly used. Just reactions. Do you use one in particular, or are you one of the people who like mixing around still, finding the best of the best? I'll go first. I mean, I use of those, I use probably ChatGPT and Perplexity the most. Other people's reactions?
Yeah.
Everyone but DeepSeek.
Why not DeepSeek?
It's I know what it does in the background. No, thank you very much.
Okay.
I don't believe Shanghai needs to know what I type.
Okay. Greg?
I use Notebook LM a plus.
Sorry, Greg, I couldn't hear you. Sorry, say again.
I use Notebook LM a great deal. I find it very, very useful. And then Google Gemini 2.5 deep research, very, very good. Perplexity as well.
Yeah.
But I found the deep research very good for strategic work.
Yeah. And I'm delighted to say if you put implementation into Perplexity, I come out on one of the tops. So, other reactions? Claudette, which do you use?
AI, I started using Copilot because I use a lot of Microsoft and it's always prompting me, so I just gave in. So I use that from time to time. And Gemini, I've used none of the others.
Okay. All right. So yeah, I mean, these tend to be the front runners at the moment. For those older on the call, it is kind of history repeating itself. 25 years ago, we were all looking at the different search engines. So I do wonder if one of them will pull away. I'm not so sure this time that we'll get a Google result, but it'll be interesting to see what develops. Okay. Thank you for that. Is anyone doing ERP? Anton, okay. Okay, so I'll go through this quickly. This was a very interesting research that just came out this month. I think it's BCG. So I'll just share it on how they're using Gen AI in ERP. I found it an interesting example. So Boston Consulting Group say Gen AI eases the pain of ERP implementation, which for those of us who've gone through ERP, that first line itself is a massive statement. How does it do it? By addressing the challenges that have plagued us so much. A critical part of this resource is shifting. Using Gen AI means implementation teams can reduce the effort expanded into the resource intensive later stage processes of ERP delivery, which is where the realization and deployment. Instead, they can deploy these resources in earlier discovery, preparation, and exploration phases, contributing to mostly delivering business outcomes. And I'll just show you the graphic that explains it. So, I was very curious. I don't use ERP, but I've consulted on a few clients with it, and I'm just interested to see how Gen AI was going to complement it. So when I saw this article, I was curious to read it. So you
They're
can
spot on.
Yeah. Anton, go on, please. Over to you. Because
Yeah, so the experience that I have with using Gen AI during the last ERP implementation, because we at PwC were experimenting with it as well, is that what we saw is that data accuracy has gone up, which then later in the project, of course, reduces the amount of correction types you need, and also transforming verbal requirements from clients into ERP understandable design elements. That saved us a lot of time. So basically, we need less conversations, less time reflecting back to, hey, is this what you wanted? Data accuracy, gap filling, everything. So it reduced it at least. I think this project went like 20% faster, and this was like the first time that we did it. So now there's another team running here by coincidence also running the similar thing, and they are already 20% faster at the beginning of the project. So we were very curious, what are they going to do at the end? How are they going to expedite the time that they need? And normally, an ERP is 3 to 4 years. Can you imagine if you take 20% off? That's like a cost reduction at its base. So yeah, it's definitely a game changer in ERP implementations.
And I would agree with you. I think 20% will be a low level. I think,
That's a very low level.
33 to 50. And, for those who haven't done ERP, when we say Anton says 3 to 4 years, it really is a hard, long graft. And you keep in mind that 2/3 of ERP projects fail. So this will also improve the implementation. So I thought that was an interesting example. Okay. And Anissa, please. Yes. Sorry, I'll go back.
Yes, no, I just, I have an association. I think besides ERP, this would also be interesting to analyze, to change ERP with SAP, because SAP projects also are very painful and very cumbersome, never delivering time, mostly run over budget. So it would be interesting to see if there also are any studies out there.
Bless you. Does anyone know? I haven't seen any.
SAP and ERP is equal. So SAP is a brand that provides an ERP platform.
Okay. Yeah. So I don't know if there's any difference, which is what I was going to ask.
No, it was a SAP implementation that we did. So that's it's literally exactly what it is. And here we're doing an SAP as well.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Greg, please.
Yeah, so currently I'm helping an organization with the digital migration into AWS, the whole AWS ecosystem, and very complex from a data lake, all the different stages in that, etc. And what they're able to do is what I did was take the solution architecture PowerPoint of about 100-odd slides and pass them through Gemini and create at least a first stage of the sprints for safe LPM, lean portfolio management, as well as the first cut of stories per sprint. So sprints, sprint goals, and stories. For at least for then processing to bring into Jira. So that has worked very, very well.
And what was the prompt you put in, Greg, to get the stories and was it literally just that, or did you
No,
Put in
it
a
was
sequence of
painstaking.
prompts.
There's not a library of prompts to help you with that regard. So particularly in the safe LPM environment, I use the scaled agile framework methodology to ask the questions, and you had to go through evolution of those to actually get. And what I did was ask Gemini to develop the prompts and then use the prompts.
Yeah.
So it's a multi-stage process, but I can say categorically, it took a week, would have taken a month to do. So yeah, at least. But yeah, from a credibility perspective as a consultant, it's enormous because you're putting forward something. And I'm open that I've used AI, but it's, garbage in, garbage out. If you don't ask the right prompts, you're going to get garbage out. And the client is happy with the output. So I'm very pro. But yeah, you have to be careful what you don't just use it and pass it on to the client.
Yeah, no, and I think, well, a couple of quick reactions to that. There is actually a website. I keep forgetting to check it out. There is a location that designs your prompts for you. Has anyone used it? There is an actual prompt website.
I know Microsoft have published their own prompts for ChatGPT that they recommend, but I don't know of an actual website for
There is.
developing.
There's actual. I keep forgetting. It's on my long list, but not at the top of it. So that's one. The other reaction, yeah, I think what you did is excellent, and it's also interesting. This is let me put it to the group. It's now become established. I mean, it used to be you used AI, and you said, Greg, yeah, I told the client I'm using it. We've now, I think, crossed over where if you're not using AI, it's actually, well, why aren't you? Rather than, oh, I used AI, I shouldn't tell the client, I think from my perspective in Asia, I think we've crossed that where if you're not using AI, well, why aren't you? I mean, why would you still be doing this manually or not taking advantage? Is that the same in other locations? I'd be curious. Greg, you brought up a good point as well as what you shared. Other countries? Irshad, where are you again? Remind me.
So I'm based in London.
London, thanks.
And I guess it's also the same. We're currently going through this same phase. We're not quite yet as to questioning why someone didn't use AI, but I wouldn't be surprised that this becomes the norm, in a couple of months' time. That's how fast it's happening.
Okay. Thank you, Irshad. And Nita, please.
Yes, just what I
Vienna?
observed here in Yes, Austria is that, well, there are a lot of concerns regarding security and sensitive data being openly visible. So I know many companies also like say, no, we not Copilot, not going to cloud and so on. And I think people are doing it on their side, but without considering doing anonymization, whatever. So there's like a two-way strategy, and companies should take more care about the employees. They say, okay, if you use it, then do it this. They're not trained, and of course, the temptation is very strong to use it, but the security concerns weigh very heavily. And local systems are very rare, like closed systems and customized ones. And many companies still not going into cloud, whatever application. So usually on-premise or like the calculation centers or computer centers or in Europe. So there is a reason. I mean, there's a reason why all these applications are for free, because you're the product and your data is the gold. And of course, you live from the data, but you also have to apply critical thinking approach when talking about AI and its application.
Thanks, Anita. I've got a couple of responses, but I want to let Claudette go first.
Okay. For my primary clients, which I am a subcontractor to other organizations, they expect that I would use AI. For the end user, the other sometimes no. And it depends on the type of client, like a private client that has a big legal team. I would be careful to, what information I do use in AI. and I don't have really access to a closed system. It's something that I want to have to protect those particular clients when you are doing information. But when I work with nonprofits, that's public information. So that's already out in the public domain. It has to be by law.
Yeah.
So I'm okay to do that, to use the tools in that sense.
Okay. It is interesting. Anita, to cover things what you said. And Phil, I don't know if you're seeing the same, but over in Asia, the rapid development of private Gen AI is very common here. So most of the leading companies have worked with AWS or Microsoft and developed or developing their own private, especially as I work a lot in FI, financial institutions. So we've seen a rapid development of that to overcome it. Anita, you're spot on. The last stat I saw, I don't know if anyone's seen an updated, was 11% of data uploaded to the public domain is what shouldn't be. It's private, confidential. Yeah, so that's one of the stats that I came across. Your other comment about Europe, I heard a lovely expression, and I apologize in advance, but I really love it, that goes, America innovates, Europe regulates, and China replicates. Which just kind of sums up the challenges. I'm actually presenting in Zurich in a couple of weeks, and I'm debating whether to use that line or not. Oh, also, Ishad, if you're in London on June the 9th, and if anyone else is going to be in London, I have a new book out called The Digital Leadership Playbook, and we've launched it in Singapore and Johannesburg, and I'll be launching it in London on June the 9th. So if anyone would like to attend, it's at a club called 67 Pall Mall, right in the heart of London. It will be June the 9th at 6 p.m. Please send me an email. We have limited seats, but of course, I'll give priority to yourselves. So if anyone would like to attend, please let me know.
We'd love to. Thank you so
Okay.
much. I'll send you an email.
Please do, and then it'd be great to meet you in person.
Thank you.
Oh, which is the other thing I forgot to ask you about, which I'll come back to at the end. I can't see my clock. Can somebody just tell me how much longer we have? Sorry. How are we doing?
5:43 Singapore time.
20 minutes. Okay. Thanks, Philman. Okay. Okay. So I thought this is towards my last slide, last couple of slides. These are some of the more recent AI tools that have come out that I thought I would just share. I've got 6 of them. I'd be interested to see if you're using or any of them. So Dreamina is a text to image generation that's becoming, one of the newer ones that's becoming popular. HeyGen, I think, is already quite well established, especially if you want to do video, what do you call it, digital twins. So it transforms ideas as text or scripts into AI videos. It's becoming very popular. Descript is one of the more popular video editors. And then 3 more. The Microsoft Designer is one of the newer ones. I haven't played with it yet. SpeechMa is text to speech for free. And then the browser use is also one of the newer ones, which is enabling AI to control your browser when you start looking at agentic AI. Has anyone played with any of them or any feedback or comments? Okay, so I'll put a copy of this slide deck in the LinkedIn when I put as a carousel, so you've got them as well. Okay, which takes me to the question I started with, and we'll go full circle for the last 20 minutes. We've already started to talk about it, but how are we using AI specifically to improve and accelerate the strategy implementation? So let me stop sharing. Now I can see the time as well. All right, there we go. Let's open up, please. Go ahead, please. Yes.
So I have been using well, I use it every day for almost everything, but the features that I find most helpful is financial analysis because that is not my background. And so, you can upload audited financial statements, do an analysis, where what are the trends, where are they spending their money and stuff like that. Awesome. I still sometimes do have to consult with an accountant or an accounting firm, but at least I have an idea of what it is that I should be talking about. The other things I found useful, I've started to cut down the actual strategic planning time. I find our clients need more time with gearing up for the implementation part. And so to turn those strategy documents, remember they used to be like 50 pages long, into very shorter, succinct documents. And that's a real hit. So that's how I'm using it.
And I love all of them. Yeah, so especially the last one.
Yeah.
It's making it more powerful, short and sharp. Yeah, and I like the way you said you still have to go to the auditor occasionally, but I'm also guessing you ask better questions as a result of it.
Absolutely. And have a more professional product because,
Yeah.
because you can also ask what things have I missed? And of course it will, show you what you can add.
Yeah. One of my friends, unfortunately, his friend had a bad incident and he was in the hospital and he did his research on AI before he went to the hospital. And he was asking such provocative questions that the doctor thought he was a doctor. He said, no, I'm not a doctor. So, that's the impact it can have. Yeah, so I mean, not just accounting. I use it also for legal contracts. To give you what should you be aware of. It's just fantastic. Cutting out that whole step of paying a lawyer and waiting 2 weeks and paying an arm and a leg and you get it done. So that's one of the other areas as well as accounting documents. Please, other reactions. Where are we seeing it? Greg, please. Thank you. Perfect timing.
Yeah, so I mean one of my sort of secret ways that I find so powerful is using Google Workspace, Google Drive. So I've got hundreds, if not thousands, of documents in different folders, etc. Using Gemini's integration into Google Drive, being able to analyze entire folders. I think it's got a limitation on about 1,500 documents and about a couple of million pieces of information. So to simulate that, let's say a client has got a strategic vision. It's got certain aspects that are questionable. I'm able to integrate other pieces of work into their analysis and come out with a much more robust analysis from a strategic perspective very quickly, using that Gemini Google Drive integration. So I think that's amazing. There's a new agent that's been added to it, but I can't remember the company that's provided, which actually does the merge. Now, that sounds trivial, but it's actually so powerful because you could actually write a book based on the documents you are, and that is
extracting the IP from it or the knowledge
from whatever multiple books, for example, digital books. You could create a new book, or a new strategy based on multiple strategic like documents. We were talking about ERP, so I've done Oracle, SAP, digital transformation into AWS, etc. Now those have changed over time substantially. S4HANA is substantially different from S3 in SAP. Now, so there's certain aspects relating to that. Now, how does AI come into that for my advice to a client? I'm able to actually bring that in, even with providing URL links into the merging, etc. So it's incredibly powerful. Anyway. half cents.
Yeah, Codette, I can see your head nodding as well. Mine is as well, because one of the other things I'm starting to use it more and more for is creating, I can't remember the right term for them right now, but just little like 2-page sheets, info sheets, and sharing with the client that you can extract and create so fast now. We used to spend a few days doing and editing tweet, and now 20 minutes you can have a powerful sharing document. Other reactions to comments? How we're using AI to accelerate and improve our implementation?
Let me throw in one.
Excellent.
I use it to validate my project plans and my strategic implementation plans. So I write long-term prompts, then I ask ChatGPT to improve my prompt.
Yeah.
That helps, gives me a better prompt. And then I basically say, hey, I have the strategy implementation plan. I literally throw in some of the frameworks from the Implementation Institute. And then I say, can you please validate it against these inputs? And then it goes on for a bit. And then it comes with a very, very good list of stuff that I missed. And then I'm thinking, shit, I should have paid attention. Or
hang on.
Or
Sorry,
it actually,
you should have paid attention on the course
yeah,
with Robin and Tony, or you should have paid.
that's why I didn't get a full 100%. No, but it kind of, I use it as a validator more. So to see, it's like, are there things that I didn't think of? Are there things that I should have thought of? And I also ask it to, so ask me any question that you need to know to make this work better. And so one thing that I can highly recommend for everybody in this call is, like, there is a few courses on Coursera and those kind of things. It's called prompt engineering. Do these courses. You will see that the outputs of your AIs become really, really, really good. And think about what you ask it. It's like a one-liner prompt will give you a one-liner answer. If you really engineer your prompts and you build them up structurally, the quality of your answer will be so much better. And it saves you even more time. But the 5-minute investment is like a half an hour to 2 hours of a day just gone back. I actually have so much time left now that I can watch a TV series called The Rookie, and I'm happy. I have time to watch TV. You'd be surprised. And I use it for coding a lot. I use it. That Rob and I have my platform, and I'm using it to validate my code and to standardize. And then for coding, AI is perfect.
The most recent quote from Sam Altman that I've been using is that one of the biggest job losses in the next 2 to 3 years will be coders.
I think coders will become more designers and they will become more prompt engineers.
Yeah.
So the role is what I see happening. I see it here as well. Is that the roles are just changing. So you need to still understand and have a basic understanding of how code works in order to validate whatever the thing spits out. Because not everything that does spit out. There's one huge risk when using AI, and I feel that we're not touching upon it, which is I call AI bias. It is if you, and I think everybody experienced this, if you chat a little bit with ChatGPT, after 4, 5, 6 answers, all of a sudden ChatGPT goes into a direction that you go like, hey, hold on, why is it doing that? And this is where I come back to, go back to prompt engineering. That because an AI, especially things like ChatGPT, they tend to go left or right very, very quickly. You see it in coding, you see it in controls, you see it in all kinds of other things. So don't blindly trust what comes out. Just always validate. That's my strongest advice.
Greg, I'm just going to respond quickly to Anton before I go over to yourself, but it's also interesting, Tom, that you say it, but I think we're also in a moment of time. So, for example, this year, hallucinations have dropped from double figures to the figure is now 1.8%.
Yeah, I saw that.
With coding, I think the same thing's going to happen within the modeling, that, the reinforcement learning will kick in. And, so I think you're right for now, but I think within a few years, learning HTML and Python will become a thing of the past. And
I think so too, Robin. I fully agree. I also see the improvement in the models as well. Like as they start, well, they call it remembering, but it's the memory is uses of the conversation that you have with the AI just becomes better. It means that the drifting is less. That's correct.
Yeah. Thanks. Sorry, Greg. Over to you.
No. I just wanted to ask: has anyone done a complex query across multiple Gen AI tools to see what the differences are. And then copied and pasted and actually asked
Thanks,
AI
Katie.
to give you the differences between the two. If you've got time free, it's fun thing to do. You might ask meaning of life, something as opposed to sorry, going back to programming and the sort of end of that. With our current client, we're working on natural language programming and natural language queries, because it's without going into the details, it's online application processing for the client in terms of their primary tool, etc. And for ultimately that, as from a dashboard and from a perspective in terms of insight into the native data and the data lake, which is I don't know how many teraflops it is or whatever. It's huge. That is the way to go. And so anyway, and then working towards getting the metadata on these multiple queries to actually streamline the ability for reducing the processing time for it's very interesting anyway from that perspective.
And I'll just close out, and then I've got one more question, and then we'll stop at top of the hour as usual. The other area I use it, I was very fortunate this year I've worked with a number of different clients and new clients. And the amount of times I've asked what the strategy is for that company, and then gone in and asked the leaders for the strategy, and it's been within a 95, roughly, I mean, I'm picking up the number, but it's almost 95% accurate. In other words, strategy is no longer your differentiator. It's no longer keeping it close to your chest. Anybody can find out your company strategy. And the good news for all of us, it means implementation is even more critical. The most classic, the company you'll all know was I just came back from working with Starbucks in China. And when I asked them what the strategy was, it was almost matching what I'd been able to extract from Gen AI. So there we go. One very quick question to close out on. We've been discussing hosting the first ever in-person conference in Q2 next year. And the most likely locations would be Europe, Middle East, or Asia. Just very quickly around the room, we've got 60 seconds left. Greg, Anita, and then Anton, the way you're on my screen. Greg, I appreciate it's going to be a further distance, depending where we do it. Would it be something, and I'm thinking of sending out a sample inquiry, just a few questions to see what would get traction. But can I just get gut feel reactions from the room? Starting with Greg, then Anita, and then Anton.
Sorry, Robin, I do apologize.
No problem. We're
distracted.
talking about having an in-person conference on, for SII for the first time ever. We've always done it virtually, but to get together for 2 days and organize, a high level speakers and breakouts and, for the Institute. So we can all physically meet for the first time in Q2 next year. Gut feel reactions?
Sounds good.
Okay, thank you. Anissa?
Yes, I would love to. Hopefully, I can make it, and I would prefer a location where really the action is going on, because Europe is sleeping, and I would opt more like for Middle East or Asia, and also for us to see things in action working. So like do excursions, visit companies or whatever.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
The speakers also from these companies, because they come from this location, but here in Europe, I'm not sure if things will be changing. I'm sorry.
As I said, you regulate too much. Anton? Okay. Philmon, then Claudette, then Irshad?
Yeah, it's good for me.
Okay, thanks. Claudette, it would be a long travel for you. Would it be worth it? Well, we get
It would be worth it. It would be worth it. Timing is important because I do have a commitment
I know,
in the Caribbean. So timing is important, but yes.
And if we do lock it in, we'll give you like 6 months notices. Okay. Irshad, to yourself?
I'm biased towards London, and love to think that Brexit has happened, so we are on a different trajectory.
Touche. Yeah, I mean, maybe if we can partner with Stuart and Des at Thinkers 50 or something, see if they're interested, we can look at that. Okay, thank you. That was just to take a temperature check. Okay, so the SIGs, we will send something out in the next few weeks. As always, thank you to everyone. Just for those who came in a little later, this is the last every 4 weeks because of now we have more activities going on. The monthly meeting will become bi-monthly, so the next one will be in July with Antonio. As always, thank you to everyone. I will post the slides as a carousel on the SII LinkedIn page, and I'll send you a copy of the research. I'll post the copy of the research as well, and Anita, I'll send it directly to you. To everyone, thank you. It's always a pleasure and a joy. The caliber conversation today. Thank you for your inputs. That's it. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Thanks.
Good day.
Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye.
Signing off.